Hello, I'm Carol Wyer. I am delighted to be able to present the finale of the Robyn Carter series. The last book, The Chosen Ones, ended on quite an explosive ending. Following that book, I was inundated with emails and requests and messages about what happens next. My publishers and I decided to answer those questions, but we haven't produced a whole novel. We've produced a story, and you will get that story as a bonus story if you purchase The Chosen Ones. It will come after The Chosen Ones, so you will find out that way. If you had a copy of The Chosen Ones and don't have it anymore, then hopefully you can watch this video. I will be reading a chapter from the story every day over the next few days. So hit the subscribe button and then you'll be able to find out what happens. And thank you to all of you for being Robyn Carter fans and for allowing me this opportunity to bring you yet another story in the series. I hope you enjoyed this one. It is called, as I say, Endgame. Saturday night. Sweat glued Brandon Shearer's t-shirt to his chest as he forced open the back door with the flat of his hand and staggered outside into the alleyway, pursued by booming dance music. He sucked greedily at the stale air, insufficient to refresh or cool him. The door shut behind him, muffling all but the bass notes, which pulsed through his veins and vibrated his weakened muscles as he drained the water bottle and chucked it away into the darkness. What had felt like hours of manic dancing caused pain to claw at his stomach. The last meal had been when? With his brain woolly from lack of food and the molly, pure MDMA powder capsules that had kept him buzzing for hours, he couldn't remember. It was all a blur. The door opened again, releasing the electro sounds of Marshmallows alone. Fucking mental in there, isn't it? Oh, I love these spontaneous raves. The girl wore no shoes, and her black dress looked like it had been sprayed onto her skinny, pale body. Brandon recognised her, one of a group of girls necking bottles of wicked blue and flinging themselves around the dance floor like crazed lunatics. She'd beckoned him over and he'd joined them, high on the atmosphere, music and drugs. With the air of a magician, she produced 2 cigarettes, passed one to him and waved a plastic throwaway lighter at him. He mumbled thanks and took it from her, marvelling at how cool her fingers felt against his sweaty ones. He flicked the lighter several times before it caught. Busted thing's running out, she said. I'll have to nick another from one of my mates. She leant towards him, cigarette between her lips, and let him light it for her before inhaling and sighing contentedly. You look shagged, she said. He laughed. You're not wrong. This is my 3rd all-nighter in as many days. He drew in a lungful of nicotine and wondered if she was coming on to him. She wasn't his usual type, but she had a nice smile. End of term madness before we all go back home to our mummies and daddies and behave like good little boys and girls for the rest of summer. Her comment hit its mark. Brandon was doing exactly that. He took in the 4 rings in her left earlobe, the stud in her tongue, and the small dark blue tattoo of some bird, a swallow on her neck, and he grinned. Somehow, I don't think you do, good little girl, he said. Fucking right I don't. Besides, I'm pissing off abroad with some mates, going to wing it and see where we end up. Don't much care where, as long as there's some sunshine. I heard it's dead easy to pick up work in some of these party resorts, Iron Napa and the like. It'll be a laugh. And of course, there'll be loads of parties, she said, grinning as she dragged out the last syllable. Brandon was impressed. It'd be great to be free for a while longer. He wasn't looking forward to the next few months back home in Stafford. His mother's new husband had offered him work experience helping out at his logistics company. You? The girl was looking at him, her eyes limpid and sexy. You got any plans? He shrugged. Working? Well, more like slave labour. Mum got hitched to a new bloke this year. He wants to prove how fantastic he is, so he's offered me a job. Don't fancy it, but can't see how to get out of it. Besides, I could do with the cash for next year. Final year and all that. Got to pay for the fun times somehow. Tell him to poke it, she said with a shrug. I would, but that wouldn't be fair on my mum. She'll get all upset about it. Well, be subtle then. Tell her you've got an invite to go abroad and how you need a break from all your studies because you're so exhausted from cramming for exams. That's what I told my oldies. You could come with us. We could do with some muscle to protect us. She gave his bicep a quick squeeze and a look of approval. You'll do. He took another long inhalation, allowing the smoke to creep out of the side of his mouth as he spoke. I'd like that. Trouble is, she'd tell my old man, and he's a copper. Nothing gets past him. He'll come up with 1,000 reasons why I can't go. She rolled her eyes at him. I had luck. She flicked her cigarette onto the ground where it lay, its tip glowing orange. He resisted the urge to stub it out for her. He'd probably blown it by mentioning his dad. Bad mistake. He tossed his fag into the distance with a casual flick of his fingers. You going back inside? She said. Not sure. I ought to score first. I'm coming down from the molly. She shook her head like a dog trying to dry itself and rubbed a palm against the nape of her neck. I'm fucking soaking. I need to cool down. Fancy a walk? I think there's an all-night supermarket near here. I could do with some more fags. Sure, why not? He followed her as she walked in bare feet down the alley towards the main street. Don't you want your shoes? She gave him a smile. I'm okay. Had so much booze, can't feel a thing. They walked side by side a few metres until they reached some skips that stank of rotten garbage. Oh, fuck me, that's ripe, she said, holding her nose, the soles of her bare feet visible as she raced away. He followed, close behind her, surprised at how fast she could move, especially in no shoes. She eased ahead of him, reached the end of the alleyway and turned left. Wait up, he shouted. As he emerged, he was impressed by the sight of her standing under a street light, bathed in ethereal glow. She beckoned him with a finger and he went towards her, and as soon as he reached her, she grabbed his t-shirt, still drenched with perspiration, pulled him towards her and kissed him deeply. The kiss lasted a while, and then, just as suddenly, she shoved him away from her and laughed. He threw her a confused look. Come on, she yelled. Catch me, and I'm all yours. She darted off again. Oh, so it's like that, is it? He called, and loped after her. She reached the end of the street and slowed down, stopping at a bridge that crossed a dark canal. She rested against the metal railings that separated the road from the water, and within seconds he joined her and was eager to pick up where they'd left off. She held up a hand to prevent him touching her. Listen, she said. To what? I can't hear anything. No traffic, no people, nothing. Exactly, she said. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. He noticed her demeanour had completely changed, and for a moment he was concerned she intended doing herself harm by jumping from the bridge. He didn't know what to say to her. He didn't even know her name. I don't know your name, he said. No, you don't, do you? But I know yours, Brandon Shearer. A frown appeared between Brandon's eyebrows. What's going on? He asked. He would have said more, except for a sudden sharp pain under his right shoulder blade. He was instantly winded, struggling for breath. He held out his hands to the girl in the sprayed-on dress, but she sidestepped away, all the while watching his face. He couldn't talk. It was as if the air had been sucked out of his lungs, and he collapsed onto the ground. The only sound he could hear was screaming. And that is the end of chapter 1. Come back again tomorrow and find out what happens next. As I said, please subscribe. I'll be doing other videos as well, not just this one, and I really hope you enjoy this finale, because I certainly enjoyed writing it. And thank you all again for staying in touch with me on social media. All my links will be in the information below. So thanks again. Bye.